December the 3rd. Happy Hanukkah or some shit you celebrate. Merry Christmas, even though we only 12 days ago, so that's that. So judging by the title, we got two products to unbox in one video. Now this is gonna be a subsequent video that's gonna be different compared to the last segments I've done in the past. But I wanted to say I'm apologize for my anger tangents from yesterday. I was kinda pissed off because I was in a bad mood. And I was kinda grudgy because something happened to me that I don't want to discuss, and I somewhat regret what I did, but I don't. Because I'm a self-retarded narcissist. Now it is. But hey, it happens before. So, for this unboxing video, we have two products. The PlayStation Classic, which was released just today, which includes 20 games, albeit some may claim it is mediocre, yada yada, and the big ass box of the Sega Genesis Flashback. Besides the Atari Flashback, this is one of those titles that has it out. Now, as you might know, this comes on the price. Now, the Flashback costs about $80 for retail, which is kind of affordable compared to the Classic. But as for the PlayStation Classic, it costs about $100. I don't know why it costs about it, but I guess that was $20. Now before this console, this is the only console that has an M rating. Now that only happens with games that will only have M rated titles, but since there's other games such as Resident Evil, they had to put a M rated title. Plus, before this game came, there was a lot of criticism that this game had me to content. I will admit it could have done better with the library, but hey, they use an open source emulator which could just hack this shit and just add more games to your own disposal. So it's not that much of a huge issue. I mean, you could always get another one if you. Also, there are only 9 games that use the PAL version, so there was a serious thing about the games using only the PAL version of instead of the North American releases. But I didn't care because, hey, people didn't give you a lot of evidence to support that claim. That plus they just make assumptions without any proof. So as you know me, I tend to give this game a chance. I give this console a chance. I think people usually criticize this console without giving it a chance. Now here's the thing. I never really have the PS1. I don't usually buy a lot of PS1 games way back in the day. I was always the PS1. My first console was the PS2, and that was pretty much it. And since then, I got the Xbox 360, and Jesus Christ, this I never understood why they had to put the tape so easy. Yep, the box may be scratched, but I could care less. We have more shit to cover. So, this is my first time having an PS1, or at least a classic edition. And, the box is actually kind of decent to some degrees, so. There it is. The actual box. Well, you know, it has the official logo for the PS1. Now, I had to assume this was the original cover of the console of this time, but due to the fact that I don't even know it, I can't usually put my better judgment. It is what it is. I admit, the box art is kind of cool for its time. I had to put it back, but this is the entirety of the box. It's kind of a car stock, but let's see what we have so far, because I'm gonna give myself a case for this. This is it. This is the PS1. Now, if you know, this is the PlayStation 1 Classic. Now, albeit it's kind of small compared, but then again, the NES Classic Edition has the same exact issues, so it's not that much of a big deal. So here it is. This is the Classic Edition. Now I can see why the box has to be a lot because this is so small, but what you see from before, it also has a couple of additional features. So if we look at the actual, now if we look at the actual console, this one is kind of small compared to it. If we take out the package to some degree, then it's actually easier. You can see that this one is actually kind of small compared to the original model. I will make a comparison, but I don't have the original model of the PS4. Albeit that I never really have the original version, and it's not really my content. But since this is actually a program system, this thing is actually kind of similar. Now it uses the Raspberry Pi. No, it uses the open source emulator that it used to emulate some games. So this one, I like the SNES Classic Edition and NES Classic Edition. This one uses a USB Type 1. Now I'm not sure if they use a Type 2, but they use a Type 1 USB drive. It has a bit of memory stick, so you can actually save some games into the mix. And it's actually kind of easier, so you don't have to worry about using some of your opponent data as some else. So it's actually kind of simple. And actually, I admit, this is actually kind of good if you want to bring a gaming case. That's just the game case for Pocket Play, which I will view later. And this one is actually a decent size for Nashville. So as you might know, it's just one of those consoles that, it's actually kind of small, but actually kind of portable in a way. And I don't usually expect this from otherwise, but hey, you never know. And now we have this actually is more content, because what we have so far is the actual controls. Now what makes this different than the SNES Classic Edition is that there's no joysticks with this one, and you will see why. Oh boy, this one is actually a huge colossal beast of a console. I can see why this cost a lot to make this. Not that I care, but you get my meaning. Oh yeah. Gotta put this to the side. Jesus. So let's get this out of the way. So apparently in this console, this one has a adapter. Now you have to keep in mind that it doesn't have a ADC code, which people might say it's a painting picture, but I say it's actually a decent size because they can't even fit this box in the adapter, and I can see why. It's way better to have this adapter because you could just use any USB port. Now, as I said, this is a USB Type 1. Type 2 USBs usually consist of a boot line, but here you get an FGMI code, you might get it. So, I want to know how long this code is, because I know that the SNES Classic Edition was kind of short compared, but this is actually a decent automaton, to be honest. Now being a Sony, a different unboxing for a different automaton, if I do see it myself. Now as for the code, there's no actual AC adapter, meaning you have to get your own. Now AC adapters are not that much expensive. They cost about maybe $5 or $10, or maybe $20 if you try to get the high quality ones out of Amazon. Or you could use a power bank, so you could play this on the go. So as you know, the code is actually kind of long. It's actually kind of lengthy that you actually could fit this anywhere. So you don't have to worry about the unit being unplugged to some point. And it's actually kind of easier because the unit is not that much big, and you can just plug this in without any ease. As for the HDMI code, now depending on how big your TV is, how many HDMI sections you have, this might be the most biggest or the most shortest of one. But I wouldn't even know. And it's kind of confusing to say these, but you could use any USB adapter. Getting an AC adapter is not that difficult. And you can always use any AC adapter such as the Apple, and it doesn't really break your car. So I mean, maybe it does overheat, but I doubt it. But you never know. One of these days, you just have to have some patience to some degree. So, and let's see what we have. So the HDMI code is kind of long compared to it. So it's actually kind of decent, albeit that it's kind of too long in my taste. But it's not that much of a bad investment. It's really similar to the Nintendo HDMI code, but actually similar. If I consider the HDMI code that's somewhat compatible, but it's usually compatible with all TVs if you have HD TV. And depending on what type of TV you have, since it's a huge conspiracy theory about powerful just not working, it's bad, man. Because I don't even know. And now we got the actual controller, the actual PlayStation controller that is included. Now, this one is actually kind of different compared to the actual DualShock controls. So this is the original DualShock 1 control, as in the base model. So what makes it different is that the base model is actually different compared to it. For $100, you can actually get a decent bargain with this. So, I wouldn't know. So let's begin. So in this model, this one is actually kind of a functional. Now this is actually a USB drive that you actually use. Now I have to assume you can actually use this to play your PC games if you have DS4, and the whole scene seems to be plastic. Now in this controller, it doesn't have any audio sticks, and that's because some of the games you have, that they are equipped with the PS1 Classic, they don't really include audio stick. If you look at the size comparison between the original and the DualShock 4, you could understand that there's no audio stick. And well, that's because it was never needed, and I can see why. I mean, I don't usually see the whole point of using the audio sticks. I always use the D-pad to play platformers because it usually is simple. But it's way easier to use the practice in to some degree. So since it's actually a USB Type 1, you could just insert this to your own groin, albeit that you need the patience, and it's actually kind of easy to do. Plus, plus if you want to play 2 players, it has a 2-player controller if you want to play it. So if you want to play on the go and during your own expense, this is the best controller you actually have. Albeit that if you have patience, you might. So now for a small console, the wires is kind of too big. Or they'd be too big for the console, but it's actually kind of a decent investment. And I wouldn't even know. Now as for the touch and the actual sensitivity, sometimes the buttons could be a little bit kind of plastic. Now people might say it's actually cheap plastic, but it's actually kind of hard compared to it. If you notice from before, the plastic is not that. It's kind of too dense to be that much cheap. I say it's actually high quality in my opinion, and I see a lot of knockoffs try to do the same thing, but the buttons are actually kind of decent, and compared to the DualShock 4, it's actually kind of a hard plastic if you want to go too competitive. I wouldn't mind with the whole competitive aspect, but you never know. And since it actually includes a second controller if you want to play multiplayer, I figured that if you want to play multiplayer, you might as well have this included. It's actually quite a decent investment, and if you want to play multiplayer with your buds or friends over the weekend, this is actually for you. Now, I never understand why this was released during Hanukkah, but I guess Sony didn't care about a Jewish holiday. But I wouldn't know. It's the same control if you want. Now, the controls are actually the same. The only thing that's different is actually a card. I said that the card is actually kind of big for crossplay, meaning you can pay for and fall. The only difference is that they include a R1 and R2. And I don't understand why they had to cut it one R2, but I guess that in the original, they never put R1 or R2 into the mix. But I guess that really they want to stay true to the original source material. And that seemed about it. I mean, I wouldn't even know into why they had to release on the holiday, but hey, that's just me. Ooh, now I need to put this away. Alright. So now that I put away the classic edition, we also have this a cool pamphlet or the attractive manual. Now I was hoping they actually include a postal, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. With the NES Classic Edition and the SNES Classic Edition, they include a postal detailing all the games for nostalgia, but I guess beggars can't be choosers, or they don't even have it. So this is the attractive manual that's included with the Classic Edition on the PlayStation. So apparently this one is self-explanatory. It's a freebie. Now there are two versions, the French and the English version, and I guess that if you're a French or English version, you might need this. So apparently in this mode, there's a lot of FCC notices, and they use a Class B digital device. So if you really care about the legal stuff, and something about not being the best of martial issues, so and saving as a first memory card, all that stuff. So if you see from the picture, you could put anything. The idea is kind of bad, so why not? But hey, if it works, it works. You could use any USB possible, and it doesn't really matter which one. If it overheats, it would give you an orange. So this is where you need this on. So apparently if it's on orange, you pretty much need to unplug this and get it rest. So you need to give it a rest. I guess that with the now the SNES does overheat. I just noticed, but it doesn't really go so feel. I have to admit, this is actually decent unboxing. I never knew that this was a high quality product that I have imagined. I mean, I'm not that much of a Sony fanboy, but I just got the PS4 Pro, and that was a huge pain in the ass to get it committed. Now, I have to admit, that was a decent product. I know that some of the people say that some of the games included are kind of mediocre, but I mean, let's be honest, there's already too many games. I mean, 2018 is a year where there's so many games that are mediocre, so I don't know what you're even talking about, but hey, it's way better than playing Call of Duty. The other Call of Duty titles are too overrated. between you, me, and I, is way better than playing. And I have to put this back in the waffle box that it should, because I don't even know where to begin. And you know, boxes these days are kind of hard to find, and this was cost about $100, and I'll be damned if this goes to the garbage, because it won't. If I pay $100 for this, I won't. Also, this is the Also, if you notice from the model, this is the model 1000 all 386.8 model, SCPH 100 all model. So we might get another model that get a joystick. I guess they want to stay true to the original baseline. You never know. Time will only tell to the smallest degree, and we just have to be patient. Besides, you can hack some of the games to the PS4 to your own disposal, and it's way easy to really hack. Now, you can't criticize a console without doing some research, and honestly, it's a fair to criticize it. It's kind of biased, and it doesn't really make any other sense in it. Now, before we even end this video, we got one more package we needed to open, and we have a lot of shit. And before we really end this segment, we have, and I wish I would share to you, I have now the Sega Genesis Classic Flashback, or the Classic Edition if you want to name it. Now this is actually kind of bigger compared to the Sony PlayStation. I don't usually expect this to, I don't know, become more active. So what makes this different is that this one has 85-bit games compared. There are multiple versions that have 83 games compared to 85, but this one was the most recent version of all times. And apparently in this version, this one needs AA batteries. Apparently, judging by the box, this was made by Act Games, so this was not a licensed title, and 3 games were copyrighted by Warner Brothers, but there was a trademark, so there's a lot of legal fees. Now, how they managed to get a lot of games licensed from Sega is beyond me, but I have to assume that they had to go to a lot of copyright issues not to get this game to be released. Because I usually care about legitimate progress systems that are not half-assed, but there are some times where I might take it as in the cake. So here it is, the Sega Genesis HD collection. And apparently this one has dust. I guess it might be the dust from inside the console, but I wouldn't know, but you never know. And treat Jesus, this one is kind of fresh. It smells new, so I can see why this was actually kind of bonky. So let's try to get this out of the way. So we have the Classic Edition of the Classic Edition of the Sega Genesis. Now, what makes this different is that you can actually put your cartridge inside this. So apparently, what makes this different than the SNES, Sony Classic Edition, for PlayStation Classic, and the SNES Classic Edition is that you can actually put your cartridge of Sega Genesis games in one. Now, I never understand why you even need that if you have 85 games, but I guess if you want to play some obscure games that are maybe from Japan or want to play some live streams, you could do so. I also know this is the only console where it doesn't have any batteries. No. It has a USB. Now this one has a USB with some protection. I guess you want to have some. And this one has a controller that has player 1. Now if you notice from before, the controller is actually kind of different. It has the official Sega Genesis, and it doesn't have any wires, meaning that you need some AAA batteries, 2 AAA batteries to get this functional. I would never understand why, but apparently you need a screwdriver. Now, the reason why I tried the SNES Classic is that you didn't need to put batteries, but apparently they want to go wireless to the point where you have to put batteries. It has 2 controllers that are croissant shape, but you need to have a screwdriver to put in new batteries. And if you want, and people say that the PS1 Classic controllers are kind of a pen and picture, but this is a pen and picture. why do I need batteries? I could just plug it in. And it's also weird that it also has controllers that you could put into. So what's weird about it is that, if you notice from before, you could put 2 control ports, but it doesn't have any wires. So what's weird about it is that it has 2 controllers you could put controllers, but you can't put it. So for a 60-bit console, you expect to put any controllers in, but you can't. It's dusty, but maybe it might be the package. As for the FC adapter, this is why I never wanted to have an FC adapter. I would rather have a USB drive to put it in, but this is such an embarrassment. So as you know, this is a DC F5 drive, S5 plugin that has. So you can tell that this is a lot of detail, and you can see why this is not many content. I mean, I might as well use this for storage space out the wall. There's nothing really important about it, so what you can do. Oh boy, I need to rate batteries for this shit. If I can find some batteries, I will, but I know it is a constant shark, but it doesn't. So it has a 2.4 gigabyte wireless controllers. It has a constant shark, but I don't understand why. But it usually has a dust cover. I never really have the Sega Genesis, so yeah, it's got to be a pain in the ass. I'm not sure where you gotta get the. Now for the buttons, the quality is actually kind of decent. Albeit that I never understand why you need the X, Y, C on the controllers, but you know, it's actually a controller. It has a rewind feature if you want to rewind some games, but you need some direct batteries. I'm not sure how good the syncing issue will work, but I'm gonna give it to the benefit of the doubt that it might or may not work to my favor. But it needs super great batteries. I'm not sure you need dual cell, but man, oh man. So it was kind of dusty. Maybe it might be because of the box or they package it. But for a plug-and-play console, you know, you might get it work. I might show some gameplay video of this, but you just never know. Now this is the only plug-and-play system that doesn't really need a control. I expect this to be played into. I didn't really want to, you know, it's black, and sometimes I don't even know if the project is actually high quality, but this was made by China, so anything made in China, it's got to have an FC, but this was made by a foreign company. And it also includes an instruction pamphlet. Now, I'm not sure what it has to contain, but you know. So I need to ask. So these are the type of games. So in this type of games, you get bonus games that are usually like Sega Genesis, and you get bonus games that are 85. And what makes it different is that it includes all the games you wanted from Mortal Kombat, Cowboy Kid, Sonic the Hedgehog, The Ooze, Virtual Fighter, 3D Blast, Chaos, all that shit you never get a chance to play as a kid. Me Being Machine, Baku Baku Animal, don't know that shit, all the Ice Kid series, and so on. And Flashback has bonus games that you don't even count, so I guess you can say there's over 90 games. And they put Sega and Sega Genesis, don't know why, but this. You need a lot of batteries to this max show. I wouldn't know. And boy, this was a huge pain, yes. Wait up again. Well, that's it to be it. Those are the 2 unboxing videos for that. Now, personally, I think that the Now, here's the thing. I think that the Classic Edition is way better than the Sega Genesis Flashback. Now, the reason why I only bought those two because when I go into conventions or conferences, I might need that to play about. This was actually a better execution. Now, the Sony Classic Edition, because I'm gonna refer to that from now on, is way better than the Genesis Flashback. Albeit that the only problem with this is that you need to have a fires. Now, I don't understand why you even need to have a player one, but I guess you need a Sega Genesis controller. Now, I'm not sure if I even need it, but time will tell. Now, it says that some games will work on the cartridge, and since it has a cartridge base, you might even use it to own finishes. So it's an emulator to own finishes, but this is so on target for $80. I would never be surprised if they want to set this for copyright, but if this was just by Sega, I would never be surprised. But who knew? I guess you could say that I'm one of those people that, I don't know. So anyhow, if you guys really want to see this, I guess this is awful. So what I'm gonna do today is I will try to play some of the games so that it gets a playing field to it, and hope I actually can showcase. Now, some of these games I usually require you to become wires, but it's gotta be a huge pain in the ass to get this to play. I don't even know how it's gonna be functional the way I see it, but I would rather test out the PlayStation 1 Classic Edition compared to this, because it's way more superior than the most knockoff, and this was not licensed by Sony, but it has 3 more couple games installed, so 85 games is a huge bargain compared to 20 games pre-installed, but you never know. You never know. So happy holidays. There's gonna be more product reviews, unboxing videos, so on. So stay tuned to it, and hope you guys have a decent holiday. Happy Hanukkah, tat. Hope you guys have a decent ultimatum with Black Friday, post Black Friday events. See you soon, and sayonara. Peace out.